It's Meet Me for Coffee, your entertainment and music podcast. I got an awesome band out of Colorado. They're called Pathos and Logos. How's it going, guys?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. You got your coffee?
Sure do.
Okay,
Cheers,
so
buddy.
cheers. So many people don't know who you guys are up here in Canada, and it'd be really cool to introduce yourselves. Let's start with our friend there in the plaid. What's your name and how do you take your coffee?
All right. Well, my name's Kyle Neely. I play guitar in Pathos and Logos. I've been playing guitar for, I don't know, 20 plus years now. Paul and I met when I was working as a recording engineer at the Traxxas Recording Studio, well known for albums you may have heard of, like, I don't know, Hatebreed, God Forbid, The Black Dahlia Murder, Human Abstract. And Paul used to come in as like a session musician from time to time. And I met him through a friend while working on the God Forbid 4 record. And fast forward, what, 15 years?
Yeah.
And, here we are still kicking out the jams together, man.
That's awesome. What about you? How do you take your coffee?
Well, I'm Paul, as Kyle just previously stated.
Mhm.
Play drums in the band. Been playing for about that same amount of time, in excess of 20 years. And Kyle and I have a pretty long history, not just with this band, but we've actually been in a lot of bands together. And Pathos and Logos is kind of like a rival. It took us a while to get here, but it's definitely working out way better just being two dudes.
Well, let's talk about how you take your coffee. Is it black? Is it with? I know you're a drummer, so you need someone to give you some high speed.
I take mine black, man.
All right,
And
perfect.
I'm a light guy. I would definitely go, 2 creams, 2 sugars, extra cream is fine.
That's awesome. All right, so Pathos and Logos. There's a name there. There's some meaning behind pathos. It's about if I look it up in Latin and Greek, it talks about the suffering and the pain and then the logos is like the story, the legend, almost like. So how'd you guys come up with something like that? I mean, before we talk about the human abstract, let's talk about your name.
Well, it's interesting that you would bring up the Greek thing. Paul, you're Greek.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I mean, the name obviously it's related to the rhetorical triangle. And although it is true that the words can be interpreted in the way that you described, there's alternative interpretations that essentially mean something more like emotion or feeling, and then logos is logic. And I think that that's kind of what we think of, we envision what the name means.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You know what? There's a lot of sometimes I find myself asking why someone named their band what they decided on, right? And what were some other options for you guys? What other names were floating around?
Oh, I'll take that one. Interesting that you would ask the question. We did actually have another band name. We used to be called Citadel. And I don't know if I can throw that out there, but either way, hopefully we don't get another cease and desist letter. But
Oh, dude,
yeah, we originally went by Citadel and, had all our socials and everything set up, had played maybe 1-2 shows, something like that, garnered a bit of a following. And man, got this good old cease and desist letter. And within 24 hours, everything was shut down. Our email had been shut down. Facebook had been shut down. YouTube was shut down. Everything was shut down.
This is worthy of mention too. Got a cease and desist letter over Facebook, dude.
Boom. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
There is apparently a band, I think out of Ohio or somewhere that had licensed the name Citadel a long time ago. And so we just had to go and switch it up.
Yeah, like in the 70s. I mean, going on almost 50 years ago.
Yeah, something like 1979 or something like that.
Kind of wild. But so in the midst of all that, we had to come up with another name. And I don't even remember if there were any other options. I think we just got to Pathos and Logos and both thought that fit us very well and ran with it.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, like if you really think about it, like Citadel is a pretty solid name too.
We liked it. We thought it was cool.
I like it too. I mean, I'm surprised some of those guys are still alive.
Join the club, bud.
I
Yeah,
even checked up, like, just like you can look stuff like that up, and I'm like, they're in there like a tick, boy. They
yeah.
just won't let go of that name.
For years, I was checking on their status within the registry just to see if anybody maybe like didn't keep up on it, didn't pay the bill, something like that. And those cats haven't slipped since day one. So it's their name; they can have it.
If it means that much to you, gentlemen, that's good for you. You go ahead and keep
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
kudos
and,
to
and
you.
at this point, for what it's worth, I feel like we've really grown into the Pathos and Logos name, and yeah, a lot of people ask us about it at shows. I mean, this topic actually comes up pretty frequently.
Pretty frequently.
Well, it's very like it's obscure to hear a name like that, right? And it's you don't really hear like a name like Pathos and Logos, and it makes you guys stand out. Um, you guys chose to go the instrumental route. Um, so that's another whole bag of we can open up right now, and I think I really want to because I'm always one to listen to some, now I guess now is the time to listen to more instrumental metal music, instrumental like rock music. People are really getting into that stuff, like Animals as Leaders. Um, why does this fit you guys?
I think that there's actually kind of a funny story. Should I tell them about back in the day? Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So when I had mentioned earlier that when Paul and I met, we met in New Jersey, and I was working at the recording studio, right? So I didn't have any friends out there or anything like that. So I forced myself on his band at the time as the singer. And I am not a good singer by any stretch of the imagination. Paul is actually has been a good singer over time. And anyway, Paul actually fired me from that band. So, maybe I've got a little PTSD left over from that. Maybe. But since then, we have played with other singers. But when it came down to it, long story short, we made the decision to still write parts that sound like vocal lines and then just transpose them onto guitar. So a lot of the leads aren't super shreddy per se, like what you would hear from something like Animals as Leaders or Volumes or something like that. How they're very metered out, but they're meant to resemble vocal melodies. So as far as not having a singer, it was a conscious decision, but it was also a conscious decision for vocal melody lines to still be present in the songs because people
Mhm.
like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with you guys. Sometimes you go into like, I get sent sometimes the press release or whatever. It's like an instrumental band. And it's like, okay, well, let's check this out. And then it's like, oh, this is pretty good. I listened to well, it's not out yet. You guys have a record coming out on June 24th called Cult.
Mhm.
I believe it's a it's 4 songs, right?
That's correct.
4 songs. One of the songs it's is a Regnum. That one's up on Spotify.
Yep.
I heard all the rest of them. It's a fantastic record. Um, why the cool artwork? It was a tarot card. What was the story behind that?
There is actually kind of a cool story behind that, I guess. So the songs for the record have been done actually for I guess over a year now, right?
Yeah, it's over a year.
Yeah, we've had the songs done, and we've just kind of been keeping them close to the vest, and took them out on tour to kind of field test them, I guess.
Yeah,
see what
vet them.
yeah, really vet them and see how people would react to them, and we changed a lot of the songs after that. But we also came to find that people were really connecting to these songs too, and we just thought that maybe there should be more of an emphasis on a part of the artwork other than just the music because we are just an instrumental band. So we decided to go the tarot card route, which we're calling the Codex. We decided to go that route so that we can weave in a narrative into the songs, and that way people can participate with the songs without there necessarily being words to the music. They can go ahead and check out the artwork and read along through the narrative at the bottom of the card and basically, choose their own adventure, really. But we had another artist lined up, and a local artist, very good artist,
Very talented guy.
very talented guy, and he was giving us good stuff, but it just, how do I say this? I guess it wasn't. We felt that the music was great, and we needed the art to be great as well. So that's how we ended up with such cool, interesting artwork and multiple pieces, as well as just, as opposed to just one cover art or cover piece.
Yeah, that makes me kind of happy because I was just talking to someone the other day about it's very hard to satisfy what you see. Like if you're trying to create something, it's very hard to satisfy that vision, right? To
Hmm.
see it follow through because you might go through 10 designers or like might jam or hire a singer or play guitar on a record or try and compose something, but if you just can't see it, like can't feel it the way you want to feel it, it's very hard to satisfy yourself and feel good about it. And yeah, kudos to you guys because uh, you guys only deserve the best for your records, right? So that's the way you guys look at it, and that's amazing because a lot of people they go through that process and they just end up like deciding on something. It's like, hey, well, this guy gave us this. I'm not too happy with it, whatever. But you guys are a bit complacent over this stuff, right? It's good. It's good to talk about this stuff. It's good to move on and with your vision. It's Paul, how important is it to fulfill your vision with this band? Like it's uh, pretty quick. How excited are you about the new record, and where do you see this going?
Well, I'm fantastically excited about the record. I'm more excited about this record than anything we've ever done. And Kyle and I have a very, obviously, as we were just explaining, a very long history of making music together. Um, One of the, we were just on the circling back and talking about the tarot card design, the codex, and just sort of the general excitement that we have about everything that we're doing. And some of the you talked about like sort of satisfying your creative needs. Um, it was a challenge creating it. It was just a challenge creating it. We had played the songs out for a while and wanted to make sure that, yeah, like you were saying, that we were presenting it in the best and most exciting way that we could. And in addition to, like Kyle was saying, the narrative kind of being woven in on each card to this sort of you could call it a cult. There's kind of a cult subtext that we have going on with our stuff. We were getting dressed in the dark. I mean, we came up with an album format. We tried to do it respectfully and logically about the way that people consume music these days. And if I understand correctly, I mean, cars, a lot of modern cars, for instance, aren't even being made with CD players anymore. Well, how are people consuming music? Your phone is the record player. Mm-hmm. And so that was another thing that sort of factored into the creation of the format. It was time and energy expensive, but it's fantastically rewarding. Like I said, everything ranging from the songs, the keys of the songs, the names, and certain other things involving certain rhythms that we used and the meaning therein, up to and including the format that we came up with. It's a really like holistically satisfying creation, and I don't know, just feels good, man.
Hey, it seems like you guys are really into this. And that's a good thing to see because there's band members that I interview sometimes and they're just going through the motions talking about things. And that's why I always try and ask the questions that need to be answered. But at the same time, there are band members out there from those bigger bands that have been asked the same questions over and over again. Um, but this is the beginning of something great. I really do believe that. Let's talk about the Human Abstract. You guys had a chance to. You worked at the studio that produced some of those records, man. One of the guys like that I know actually played the Human Abstract. He's actually like what 25 minutes away from me.
Oh wow!
And
No way, dude.
yeah, and Andrew Tapley. Do you know that guy?
I sure do. I wonder if Andrew remembers me. Tell him Kyle from Tracks East says hi.
Oh, I definitely will if I ever run into him again. We always have these little weird run-ins, it's in the middle of like a restaurant or, hey man, what's going on?
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, yeah, like I really like that band.
You and everybody else, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that band too. They were. I was blown away in the studio at their just the level of musicianship, especially at that particular time. Because if I recall correctly, so I worked on the first record, which is Nocturne, and at that time, the other stuff that was coming out was still very new wave of American heavy metal, metalcore-ish. And so to see a band like that come in, holy shit.
Yeah.
It just blew my mind. Actually, I realized at that point in time I needed to get better at guitar.
Hey, like Crossing the Rubicon song was pretty good too. And like I feel that Midhaven, like, because they had Andrew come in, a lot of people bashed them, they bashed that record, but it's pretty good too. Like it's the vocals on those records are fantastic. The musicianship, I do agree with you fully, 100%, 1,000%, if I can say that. Fantastic records. I just remember listening to those, right? Like it's unreal, right? Like
Yeah,
unreal.
start to finish, every single track on their albums are good, and the attention to detail.
Oh yeah.
Down to the fractions of seconds or even milliseconds. Every single thing is thought out. Every single thing that the Human Abstract was putting together and was still doing is just, how do I say this? It's got intention behind it. It's not just thrown against the wall and let's see what sticks. And that's what's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, thanks a lot for answering my questions tonight. It's going to be one of many shows that I think we do. I'll invite you guys back, and when you guys come over to Canada, we'll definitely sit down, have a coffee, if not have a meal. I know how much that's appreciated when you guys are on the road, especially with some normal folks that don't fanboy over you guys. If you guys aren't too big for me by that time, Pathos and Logos. Go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, I was gonna say, well, I mean, like we could fanboy over you for a little while, man. Like,
nah, man.
Thank you, George.
I don't like people fanboying over me, man. It gets kind of weird that way. I just like to just hang out and of course bring up some cool bands, if not listen to some records and play some guitar, or we'll do something cool.
I can relate to that. For not to take up too much more of your time, but we just over the weekend we had our first, like, I don't know if I would say stalker experience, but it got pretty close. And so yeah, man, I'm starting to kind of rethink the whole fanboy thing myself.
Hey, you got a big Greek guy right there. He'll take care of it.
Sounds good. I'll let him know.
So Pathos and Logos, what's the website? People can get into contact with you. Tell them this, and then we'll leave it there for now.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, if people want to check us out, definitely check out www.pathosandlogos.com. You'll find all of our tour dates on there. You can buy merch, lots of videos and photos on there. We even upload secret messages in our Sanusian script so that we can communicate with fans. So check out the website. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
We've also got the Instagram and the Twitter going. And certainly on the Instagram, a lot of that, a lot of the art and sort of the language and the iconography that we've come up with is pretty prominently featured on there as well.
Yeah, so check it out, guys.
Awesome. So Cult available June 24th. It's going to be another awesome record from these guys. You better look forward to it. If not, try and pre-save it on Spotify when that availability comes out for you. And just be looking for that. Awesome cover. You'll know what I'm talking about. So save the date. Pathos and Logos. Take care.
See you guys.
Thanks.